My fiancé's attorney sent over a ridiculous prenup demanding I give up all claims. I politely declined to sign. She canceled the wedding with a text. My lawyer said you'd back out. I simply replied, fascinating. Then I filed a lawsuit for every non-refundable wedding deposit I'd paid. Suddenly, her lawyer was nervously calling mine to negotiate. I, 34M, never thought I'd be the guy posting on our/family drama, but here we are. 3 weeks before what should have been the happiest day of my life, I found myself staring at a 47-page prenuptial agreement that essentially asked me to sign away my existence. For context, my fiancée and I had been together for 4 years. We met at a charity fundraiser where we both volunteered regularly. She came from money, old money, but that never seemed to matter. She worked as a marketing executive. I ran my own moderately successful software consulting business. We lived well, but not extravagantly, in a condo we bought together 2 years ago. At least, I thought we bought it together. The prenup revealed I apparently had no equitable interest in our home despite contributing to the down payment and making half the mortgage payments. The prenup arrived via courier on a Tuesday afternoon while she was conveniently away on a girls' trip to Miami. I remember the delivery guy looking almost apologetic as he handed me the thick envelope. Inside was a sticky note in her handwriting. Need this signed before the wedding. Love you. As I flipped through the document, my stomach dropped. According to this prenup, in the event of divorce, 1. I would waive all rights to any assets acquired during marriage. 2. I would forfeit any claim to her family's trust fund. 3. I would be required to vacate any shared residence within 14 days. 4. I would receive no spousal support regardless of circumstances. 5. I would be responsible for all my own legal fees in any divorce proceedings. Most shockingly, there was a lifestyle clause stating I would owe her family $250,000 if I ever publicly disparaged her or her family, with an extremely broad definition of disparagement. I'm not an idiot. I expected a prenup given her family's wealth. We'd even discussed having a fair one drawn up together. This wasn't that. This was a trap. I called my cousin, who practices family law in another state. After emailing her the document, she called back within an hour. This is predatory, she said. No reasonable attorney would advise you to sign this. It's so one-sided it might not even hold up in court. But why risk it? Where's the mutuality? Where's the disclosure? Did you even get to consult on this? I hadn't. This was the first I'd seen of it. I texted my fiancé. We need to talk about this prenup when you get back. 3 days of silence followed. When she finally returned, she acted like nothing was wrong. Over dinner at home, I brought up the prenup. Oh, that, she said, waving her hand dismissively. Daddy's lawyers always go overboard. Just sign it so we can move forward. I can't sign this, I replied calmly. It's completely one-sided. We should draft something fair together. Her face changed then, a coldness I'd never seen before. This isn't negotiable. My family insists. Then we have a problem, I said. She left that night to think things over at her parents' house. The next morning, I received a text. My lawyer said you'd back out of signing. Wedding's off. Just like that. 4 years together. Ended by text because I wouldn't legally disadvantage myself for the rest of my life. I simply replied, fascinating. Then I did what any reasonable person would do. I tallied up every non-refundable deposit I'd paid for the wedding. Venue, $15,000. Catering, $8,500. Photographer, $3,000. Band, for $1,500. Flowers, $2,800. In total, I was out nearly $35,000. I contacted a litigation attorney the next day. He reviewed my documentation, all the receipts, bank transfers, and contracts showing I had paid these deposits from my personal accounts, not our joint account. This is straightforward, he said. She unilaterally canceled the wedding after you made substantial financial investments based on a mutual promise to marry. That's textbook breach of promise. We filed the lawsuit 3 days later. The response was immediate. Her father called, then texted, then emailed, all of which I ignored. Then her lawyer called my lawyer, voice noticeably less confident than the tone of that prenup. There seems to be a misunderstanding, he began. My lawyer later told me he simply responded, no misunderstanding. Your client canceled a wedding my client paid for. We're seeking damages. 2 days later, they offered to reimburse half the deposits. My lawyer countered with full reimbursement plus legal fees. They balked. We held firm. A week passed. Then another offer, full reimbursement but no legal fees. Again, we declined. Meanwhile, mutual friends started reaching out. Apparently, she was telling everyone I was being vindictive and money-hungry. I simply forwarded them the prenup and let them draw their own conclusions. The call stopped after that. 3 weeks after filing, My phone rang from an unknown number. It was her. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. "I prefer all communication through our attorneys," I replied. "Please," she said. "This has gotten out of hand. Daddy's furious about the lawsuit. He says it's making the family look bad." "That's unfortunate," I said. "I miss you," she whispered. "I made a mistake. We can get a different prenup, one we both agree on." For a moment, I felt a crack in my resolve. 4 years is a long time to love someone. But then I remembered the coldness in her eyes when she said her family's demands weren't negotiable. I remembered the text ending our engagement without so much as a conversation. "I'll have my attorney contact yours to discuss settlement options for the lawsuit," I said, and hung up. The next day, her lawyer called mine with a new offer: full reimbursement, legal fees, and an additional $10,000 for emotional distress if I would sign an NDA about the whole situation. I accepted. The money was in my account within 48 hours. I used part of it to take a solo trip to Japan I'd always wanted to experience. The rest went into savings. 6 months later, I heard through mutual friends that she got engaged to someone new. Poor guy. I wonder if he read the prenup. Update 1. It's been almost a year since everything went down, and I thought I'd provide an update since so many of you requested one. First, thank you for all the supportive comments. It was a dark time, and knowing I wasn't crazy for standing my ground helped more than you know. About 3 months after the settlement, I received an unexpected email from her younger sister. We'd always gotten along well, and she was one of the few family members I genuinely liked. The email was brief but illuminating. "I thought you should know that this wasn't the first time. 2 years ago, her ex before you was presented with a similar prenup 3 weeks before their wedding. He signed it. They divorced after 14 months, and he walked away with nothing despite putting his career on hold to support her promotion. Just thought you deserved to know you dodged a bullet." I thanked her for the information and wished her well. She never responded, and I suspect she was taking a risk, even reaching out. As for me, I've slowly rebuilt my life. The business is doing well. Ironically, the publicity from our broken engagement brought in several new clients who appreciated my attention to detail and unwillingness to be taken advantage of. Their words, not mine. I moved out of our shared condo, letting her buy out my portion at market value. Found a nice loft downtown that's actually more my style than the suburban place we had chosen together. Dating again has been interesting. I'm more cautious now, more observant of red flags I previously would have dismissed. I've had a few short relationships, nothing serious yet, but I'm not rushing. The most unexpected development came last month when I was having dinner at a new restaurant downtown. I looked up from my meal to see her father sitting alone at the bar. Our eyes met, and after a moment's hesitation, he walked over. "May I?" He gestured to the empty chair across from me. I nodded, curious despite myself. He sat down heavily, looking older than I remembered. "I owe you an apology," he said without preamble. "That prenup was my idea. I've done it with all her relationships. I told myself I was protecting the family, but really..." He paused, swirling his scotch. "I was making sure no one could ever truly be part of it." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because she's miserable with this new guy. He signed everything without reading it. Doesn't ask questions. Just nods and agrees to whatever she wants." He looked me directly in the eyes. "She was happier with you, even when you argued." I took a sip of my drink. "That's not my problem anymore." He nodded. "No, it's not. But I thought you should know you were right to walk away. And I was wrong to try to trap you." He placed his business card on the table. "If you ever need anything, a reference, an introduction, anything, call me. No strings attached." I didn't take the card. I appreciate the gesture, but I'm doing fine on my own. He smiled sadly, nodded, and left. I don't know if anything he said was true, or if it was some elaborate manipulation. Either way, it doesn't matter. I've moved on. Update 2. 2 years have passed since the prenup fiasco, and life has taken some unexpected turns that I thought worth sharing. About 6 months after my last update, I received a certified letter from a law firm I didn't recognize. My first thought was that somehow she or her family had found a way around our settlement agreement. Instead, it was from her new husband's attorney. He was filing for divorce and had obtained my contact information through mutual acquaintances. He wanted to compare notes on the prenup situation, as he was fighting a similar battle. We met for coffee, and I shared my experience while being careful not to violate the NDA I'd signed. This guy, let's call him the replacement, was actually decent. An architect who had fallen hard and fast for her. He'd signed a prenup without proper review because they'd only dated for 7 months before getting engaged. Classic whirlwind romance. I knew something was off when her father started referring to my firm as his investment at the rehearsal dinner, he told me, looking exhausted. By the honeymoon, she was already talking about how I should consider joining her family's business instead of maintaining my own practice. Unlike me, He'd actually married her. Unlike me, he was now discovering just how restrictive that prenup was in practice. His bank accounts were monitored. Major purchases required family approval. He had to account for his whereabouts at all times. It wasn't a marriage, he said. It was an acquisition. I wished him luck with his legal battle, and we parted ways. 3 months later, he sent me a text with a champagne emoji. He'd managed to get the prenup invalidated on grounds of coercion and lack of proper legal representation. The judge had apparently been scathing in her assessment of the tactics used. Meanwhile, my business had grown enough that I'd hired 3 employees and moved into proper offices. I was dating someone new, a veterinarian with her own practice who understood the entrepreneurial mindset. Things were good, normal, drama-free. Then came the charity gala. I continued supporting the animal rescue organization where my ex and I had first met. Their annual fundraiser was a major networking event in our city, and I wasn't going to stop attending just because of our history. My girlfriend was out of town at a conference, so I went solo. I was chatting with a potential client when I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was her younger sister again. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. "It's important." We stepped onto a balcony overlooking the city. She looked nervous. "Father had a heart attack last month," she said without preamble. "It was bad. While he was in recovery, I took over some of the family business operations temporarily." She took a deep breath. "I found something you should know about." She handed me a folder. Inside was documentation showing that my ex had been embezzling from her family's foundation, the very one hosting the gala we were attending. Not small amounts either. Nearly $500,000 over 3 years, including the entire time we were together. "Why show me this?" I asked. "Because some of the money went into your joint account during your engagement. If this comes out, you could be implicated. I'm telling you so you can protect yourself." I felt cold all over. "I never saw these transfers." "I believe you," she said. "The deposits were timed to match legitimate payments from your business, same amounts, same days." She was covering her tracks by making it look like money you were contributing. I thanked her for the warning and immediately called my attorney from the parking lot. He advised me to gather all my business records and personal bank statements from that period. Over the next week, we pieced together what had happened. She had indeed been mirroring my legitimate deposits with stolen funds, creating a perfect cover. Had anyone investigated, it would have appeared that I was the one making all these suspicious deposits. My lawyer helped me prepare a detailed report documenting the actual source of every dollar I had deposited, with client invoices and payment records as backup. We then made a preemptive visit to the district attorney's office to explain the situation. 2 weeks later, the news broke. My ex was arrested for embezzlement. Her family publicly disowned her, claiming they were shocked and appalled by her actions. I knew from her sister that this was theater. They'd known for months, but had tried to handle it privately until the authorities got involved. I received a text from an unknown number the day after her arrest. "I hope you're happy now." I didn't respond. The investigation revealed that my ex had been stealing since college, long before I met her. The money funded a secret life none of us knew about, a condo in Miami, expensive art, and investments in her own name that her family couldn't touch. The prenup suddenly made more sense. It wasn't just about protecting family money from me. It was about protecting her secret funds from discovery in a potential divorce. As for me, I was fully cleared of any involvement. My documentation proved I had no knowledge of or access to the stolen funds. The DA's office even thanked me for my cooperation. Life goes on. My girlfriend and I are now engaged. No ridiculous prenup in sight, though we did create a fair one together with a mediator. My business continues to thrive. I still sometimes wake up thinking about how close I came to a life that would have imploded spectacularly. Sometimes the best revenge isn't something you plan. It's simply having the self-respect to walk away when someone shows you who they really are.